Welcome back, guys. So carrying on from where we left off, let's begin to add like some other tones to this. Let me just select all of this and just put them in a group and just name this. Come on, enter a group. Maybe just name this undertone instead. Okay, undertone. This is fine. So I'm going to do I have, let's create a new fill layer. Let's name this to, what can we name this? What should we name this? Probably first brown tone. Might not even be completely brown though, but let's just name it that for now. Then I would, on the roughness, let's get something a bit rough, like so. Turn off metal heights and normal. We need the color and roughness for this. So in here now, I need to start picking color tones for this. So let me use this tone from this dude. You can see that there are like various color variation for this piece. So let's start by adding let's start by adding a more brighter tone to this. Actually, we should name this to white tone. White tone, but it's not going to be necessarily or completely white though. It's just going to be like our first pass for this. So let's just make sure I'm dragging this all the way here. Somewhere around here, like so. Yeah, this should be fine. For this particular one, I'm going to reduce the tone set for this, but let's just add the black marks in here. Add the black marks in here, then I'm still trying to figure out if I need to spend a lot of details on this mesh for texturing, but no worries. No worries. Let's just do it as though, almost as though we're kind of texturing a real skin. Do you see the same method for texturing a real skin though? So we're still on the depth brush. So let's just start painting. Yeah, I think the opacity should be fine. Let's take down the flow. So let's just get something broad. So I'm just quickly bashing this in with a more broader aspect to it. I'm trying as much as possible not to completely hide the red undertone we have on this. I'm making sure I don't completely and entirely cover the entire red tone we have for this, because we still want to see them. We still want to see them picking in through this white tone. Let's just randomly bash this in. And I'm kind of going light-handed on my pressure pen. I'm not really going heavy-handed, so just going light-handed on the pressure pen. Okay, so just keep going over this. Trying as much as possible not to completely hide the red tone we have for this. Just gently bashing all of this in. And still leaving room for the red undertone to still be gently visible. Okay. Let's turn the light a bit more, kind of see the under part of this. Let's not forget the under part of the feet. She should even be a bit whiter. Okay. I believe this is a solid base. I'll hit X on the keyboard. I want to eliminate some of this, so it's not too obvious to see on the face, especially on the face. Right, this is fine. So now I'm going to duplicate this, add the black marks to this, hide this for now. I would like to pick something a bit closer now to like the main skin tone for this piece. So something around the nature of this, something like so. You can use the same color for the RGB. Just input the same RGB values, and then you should have the same color tone as mine. So I can turn this the lower tone back on. Take down the brush size a bit, and also start bashing this in. So this one I'll be almost heavy-handed on this, almost. And I'd like to do this on top of the white stone, so I can know where I'm kind of filling up for this. So the idea is just to add different bashes of this stone until it begins to look a whole lot better. So right now I'm kind of using a dead brush, just kind of should I say make some jagged edge, kind of jagged edge painting in texture painting in here. The textures are not yet smooth yet. We want to have them broken up like this for now. Then later on we'll start smoothing them out, so we're kind of add some more tones to kind of refine the textures a bit more. But right now we're not really going for refinement of textures. We're just trying to bash in some tones to this to make it feel or look more so kind of more or less like creating some kind of variation underneath this when you kind of get a close-up view on your renders for the skin. So when you get a close-up view on your renders for the skin, you begin to see this different color variation popping out through the refinement of the color tone in here, which we have not done yet though. For now, let's just keep bashing the skin. Okay. And we are doing this symmetrically so that we can work a bit, not just a bit faster, so we can actually work faster. Not a bit faster, but faster instead. Making sure, kind of painting everywhere, making sure I'm not missing any parts of this. Okay, see, we can eliminate more of the reds. We're not trying to completely and absolutely erase them though, because we still need them to kind of show through every single layer of mid-tone we're adding here. I think I'm going to, after I'm done with this, I'm going to name this mid-tone, this folder mid-tone, so that I know that, so I kind of keep things organized and know what I'm actually doing in here. For the top part of the hair, we might even decide to paint even more, because this part is going to be covered by the hair most of the time, so you can decide to just probably almost clean it up. Okay, okay. But we're still even going to be bringing some red tones on top of this later on when we are kind of refining this. That'll be like our like top pass, like final pass on the entire skin. So, but let's just get this in. There's still some other layers that we need to kind of block out earlier on. So, but the should I say best part? Not really the best part though. The general idea is that at least we know what we are doing. So the general idea for this tutorial is to kind of help you understand what you are doing, so you're not just bashing in different randomized colors in here on your model, but being strategic about it and knowing what you're actually bashing in to create a more believable result. I think it's even much, I would say it's even much easier creating Caucasian skin than creating dark skin tone. Dark skin tone are more, rather is more, I would say more complicated in a way, because you might not actually, probably in one point of view though, you don't have to take my own word for it, but based on my own personal little experience, darker skin tone, you don't necessarily even need to kind of add this red undertone, because most of the time, 90% of the time, when painting dark skin, it's not going to be visible. The darker skin tone, the variation of the dark skin tone is going to kind of completely overlap and cover this entire reddish undertone we added on it. So the only good part, the only fun part, or rather really the best part of it all is that even though you're in your dark skin tone, I know I'm talking about dark skin tone when we're kind of painting Caucasian skin tone, I know, I understand. But just to get the general, just give you a general, let me save this. Just to give you a general idea so you can kind of understand my thinking process when I'm kind of painting both skin tone. So the idea is that after painting your dark skin tone over some other darker skin tone, and not necessarily painting having to do this reddish, and not necessarily having to do this reddish undertone. At the end of it all, when rendering your model with SSS, subsurface scattering, you know for certain that the redness of the skin tone when light passes through it is going to be obvious to see through that dark skin with the help of SSS. So you don't necessarily need to paint or create an undertone with red colors in there, unlike for a Caucasian skin that you just have to block out that red undertone in there. Very important. Kind of paint more underneath this bit. Okay, so I think we're in a good place. We're actually in a good place. Just see if I can tidy some things up in some regions. Bring some more in here. Okay. So now we have this now. So now let's create another pass for this. But I would like to do something. I would like to block out something in here. Let's block out something in here that is quite important. So like a bluish tone. So let's duplicate this layer. So this one should be, let me name this one to bright brown tone. Okay, I'll name this to blue tone. So basically what I'm going to do for this is to, let me just add the black marks in here. Maybe even completely, okay, no, let me add the black marks. That's black marks is fine. And I'm going to change this up to a more, don't know if I have a reference in here that should help to kind of explain what I'm trying to do. Yes, I think I have something in here. If you look at this a bit more, you can kind of see some kind of grayish tone around where hairs are kind of growing out from for the beard, kind of. And in here, it's more or less like a more of a darker brown tone instead here. So I'm just gonna block that in. So I'm just gonna start with, where's our yeah, this is the reference. This is one we're using. So I'm just gonna start with something bluish down here for the beard. So let's get something around a bluish, yes, not completely bluish though, maybe something around this value, something around here, but it should be darker, something dark like this, something dark like so. So I pretty much kind of paint this where the beard should be. Yes, something like this. So it should be more or less like slightly darker. So I'm just gonna paint this where the beards should be growing out from. Something more or less like so. Around here and around the neck. This guy has a pretty long neck, so I will need to push that down a bit more. Okay, something pretty much like this. Right then, so I'm going to duplicate this, add the black marks to this. For this one, I'm going to use a more dark brown for this, so I need to find a better reference for something a bit darker, something that has more darker tones. I think this one should be fine, so I will just drag this and pick this, then I will darken it even more. So this one will be for the eyes. So this would be for the eye. So just around the eye, more around here. Something that sits like so. I want to come darken it more because I'm still going to paint in another tone on top of this. So let's just darken it even more. Yep, pretty much like so. Same around here also where the eyebrow should be. So just kind of create something there like so. Alright, That's fine. Oh, I did not. I completely forgot the year. For this bright brown tone, I completely forgot the year. So we need to paint that in. Let's make sure we're blocking that in also for the year. Okay, that's fine. Alright, awesome. So kind of catching, getting something in there. So now let's make sure we kind of introduce more of a yellowish tone to this. More of a yellowish tone to this. So I'll just duplicate this. Let me name this dark brown eyes. So this should be more of a yellow tone. Let's bring in some yellowishness to this. Not completely yellow though, like more or less like light brown or something. So okay, black marks already. So let's kind of see if we can zoom in a bit more, kind of capture that brown, kind of brown goldish yellow tone in there. So let's see. And it's going to be an issue to kind of accurately capture. We can see the speck around there, the brown yellowish tone around there. You can see the speck around there, but let's kind of capture it more. This guy, I think this guy has people someone that has it more in here. Hey, I got this reference from 3 discount store, by the way. So in case you're wondering where I got this from. It's something, maybe something around there. Then I'll just push this up a bit more. Let's see. I'm not sure if this is the correct tone though. It might be straight off from the original tone, but let's just see what this gives us. Let's see what this gives us. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. It worked just fine. So this will work just fine. So now we can start bashing this in even more. But I think I will need to kind of reduce this opacity a bit more though. But for now, I think this should work just fine. So let's just keep bashing this golden or goldish tone around this. So you can see how as we are topping this off, it's kind of giving it a more interesting look. This is just too goldish though, but that's fine. Once we are done with this, I'm going to overlay it properly. Let me leave the beard for now. Yes, for now, because I mean there's different opacity to kind of fix that region where that bluish tone is. But for now, let's just bash. Just keep bashing this in. I'll leave the scalp. I'll just leave the scalp the way it is for now. So this is our goldish tone for our golden boy. Increase the size of the brush a bit more around here and just kind of, it's more or less like as if we're kind of cleaning up the red tone almost completely. So I'm more or less like targeting where I have more redness. I'm painting that more in there, painting more of that yellow tone in there. But not overdoing it though. So I'm still going a bit light-handed on it. Still going a bit light-handed on it. Okay. part of the body is not going to be completely visible though, but nevertheless, let's make sure we have something in there. I think I'm supposed to even paint a bluish tone for the nail. Let's go to that bluish tone. Let's just bash something bluish in there. Then go back to the golden tone. Kind of lighten it up. Let's go in here and keep bashing this goldish tone on top of it. Okay. For now, we're not looking at the stylized reference for the skin for now. We're still going to fall back to that in a bit. So, but for now, let's just get the major colors in there. Let's make sure we have the major colors in there first. Okay. Alrighty, alright. Okay. Let's just a bit of work though, but it's an interesting or rather enjoyable process. Let's just keep getting this in. Let's show the bot some love. This bat needs some love. Since it's just a stylized character, I'm not too careful about specific regions. Like making sure I'm looking at references for specific region, especially where the bone is kind of sticking out more. Because where you have the bone sticking out more, we have more of a yellowish tone to it. But regions where the bone is not sticking out way too much, you should kind of see the red tone, some of the red tone in there. But this is just a stylized character, so I don't think I need to show this character that much love as though I was kind of texturing a realistic character or something. But regardless, let's just make sure we have something good enough, interesting enough to kind of be proud of at the end of the final texturing process. So this golden boy. Instead of reducing the color tone, I'll just kind of do like reducing the opacity of the layer instead. Make sure this is more visible. You can see how without just using the dead brush only and adding some more tones to this, you can kind of see that it's just refining the skin a bit, making the skin feel a bit more smoother in a way. So let's do some more in here. Okay, this golden layer we're adding here is more or less like we're kind of flooding the entire model with like the main overall skin tone for it. So instead of just doing a normal flooding of the entire thing, like just a normal fill layer, it's better to just do it this way by painting it in a more randomized or procedural way to make it feel and look more interesting and a bit more realistic. Let's get this part in here properly. Okay, can we get some light in here? Can we get some light in here, please? As though we can actually fix some light in here instead of substance painter, which we can't. Just messing around. So we can't really get some light in here. So let's just keep, yeah, let's go to the gray bluish tone and kind of paint some bluish tone around here, like so. Alright, so if we should zoom out a bit, let's just check this out from a distance, like so. From a distance, it looks all yellowish and stuff, but when you get a bit of a closer view to it, you can begin to see some uniqueness to the textures. See if it's beginning to feel a bit more unique. So now for the beard, let's take this down, so opacity down. I don't want to completely hide this, I still want to kind of see them peeking through in a way, so I'm just kind of do something a bit lighter in there. But not excluding the fact that it should still be in there, so keeping that in mind. So it's kind of there, you can see that actually there. Same with the eye. So alright, looking good. If you decide to say we want to leave this like so, this is still completely fine. You can if you want to. But I would like to just like to make it slightly more interesting. So it's a particular brush that we need to use to kind of break this up and make it feel more interesting. Though right off the bat, this looks interesting enough. So we want to kind of keep some redness for the nose. But for the forehead, we need some more yellowishness for the forehead. So I'm kind of painting more yellowishness on the forehead because the bone is kind of sticking out. It's more, the flesh is kind of more thin around this skull part because more or less like close to the skull. So we need to have some kind of more yellowish tone around there compared to the nose that is not really close to the bone around this region that will kind of be more reddish. But for now, let's just think this should be fine for now. Yeah, I think it should be fine for now. Do we need an extra tone? I'm not sure if I need an extra. Like I kind of see some kind of whitish tone around here though. But that would not be probably an overkill kind of. So this is just a normal style. Like this is just a normal regular stylized character. Yeah, I'm really getting some variation of skin tone in there already. It's a good variation of skin tone in there. Though there's just one particular pass of skin tone that I can add, kind of make the skin tone pop a bit more, which is like a more browner skin tone to this. So it's basically okay. Let me just duplicate this. I'll show you guys in a bit. So let me show you another tip also. Right now I'm just painting this without looking at the albedo map. But this is just the material map we're looking at in here. So if I should hit M on the not M, C on the keyboard, not C, is it C? Yes, C a few times. So now you can see the base color. And the base color is like the albedo without what's it called? Without lighting information in there. So right off the bat you can see that this is already looking, let me hide this one and go back in here. This is already looking interesting. It's already looking interesting, kind of. This part is just way too aggressive. I like to paint this off. Yes. Gently paint this off. I don't want to make this guy look like a very old person. An older person will have more of this broken up skin tone with all the redness and stuff around there everywhere. So I'm not entirely going for that. So I need something that is a bit more refined. It's gonna give a more younger skin texture to this character. Not completely young, but maybe someone around his 30s or something. So I would like to do one. Thinking of doing one. Thinking of doing one final pass to this though. Doing one final pass to this. At least for the face, not entirely for the body though. Majorly for the face. Okay. I think I'll do that pass first. Then, if I kind of create some interesting skin looking texture to it. So just kind of clean up the entire thing. So I think I'll name this to mid-tone. Let me just put all of this in here and group this and name this mid-tone. Name this to mid-tone. Okay, so that's like our mid-tone. But I need to fix something here. I'm seeing that the eyes is just too dark around this edge. So let's go back to this yellow tone and fix that. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so this skin is looking quite symmetrical though, but that's fine. That's completely fine. Let's just clean this up a bit more, like so. Maybe erase that a bit more. Something like this should be fine. Okay. Right. Looking good for the most part. So now let's create some more. Let's kind of refine this a bit more. So I already have this on here already. So let's just add the black marks to this. So I don't need this gold. This golden tone is just too goldish. Let's see if we can find. See if we can find a more lighter skin tone for this. Yeah, something like this should be fine. Looking for the same color. This is the color in here. I think for this now I'm going to change up my brush. I want to use a. I like to use a round. Brush for this. So under the brushes panel. I think I will use a soft. What is that soft? Basic. Okay, yeah, defaults. Where is the default brush in here? There's basic hard. What's basic hard? Hardness. Let's take this down. Take down the hardness. Let's paint this on here. Let's see what we get. So I have this painted on in here, but it's just way too bright. I'm not sure I like the way. Let me take down the opacity. Nah, I'm not sure I like the way that came out. So I'm going to be using this. I'm just going to pick the same color, but I'm going to lighten it. So I come to this eye picker and just pick the same color, but I'll go for a lighter version of it. More lighter version of it. Maybe down it. Now it's coming too dark. Let's pick that again. Okay, let's get a brighter tone to brown. Not sure if I will like this though. Let's see. Let's just bash this everywhere. Now take this down. Yes, I think that should do the trick. Let's see this way. I think it should be fine. But I think I'm overdoing it. I don't want. Let me erase it for now. So I need to take down the stroke opacity and the flow for this. Then go back to white and then paint this on here. I think this is still way too much. Still way too much. Let me take down the flow and opacity a bit more. Add the black marks. Yes, I think this is a better value now. So I'll be gentle on the nose. Don't want to go too extreme on the nose. I still want to keep that yellowishness on the nose. I mean that reddishness on the nose rather. Yeah, we skip this part, so let's go back in here and paint that. Oh crap. We need to use the I need to use death brush for this. I need to use death brush for this. Yeesh. That's way too much. Right. Much better. So back in here, basic hard, and take down the hardness for this. Oh, take this down. Take this down. That's way too much. Way too much on that region. Still going to take down the general opacity for this layer. Use a much bigger brush size so you can work a bit faster in here. But I don't want to completely hide everything though, so I'll just be a bit careful also. Okay. Okay. Think I need to add more of this on the fingers. So we miss this part. Let's see how the general skin looks like. I'll go even lower on this and then just bash this in. Then I can I can just take this down just a bit more, like just down like around 50%, like so. Okay, I think this should work this just fine for the skin. Okay, the only thing left now is just to introduce some redness to it in some areas of the face. I think I like how this turned out. So to introduce some redness to the skin, I think I'm going to just let me just name this to bright yellow tone. Do a quick save. So the final part for this to make it more, just a bit more interesting, is to think to go back to the previous reference. It's a more brown tone. Yeah, this kind of brown tone in here. So I will just duplicate this layer. Take the opacity to 100. Add the black marks to this. They use a brown, almost a brownish red tone. Yeah, something like this will be fine. Then in the marks, I'm going to use a depth brush for this. Depth brush. With a slightly different depth brush 3. Take this down. So if I should hit C on the keyboard, take this down even more, and I start doing some. You can see how this kind of breaks up the surface even more. Kind of breaks up the surface, giving it a bit more interesting results, a bit more of an interesting look to it. Take the brush size down a bit more. So I'm only going to be generally doing this for the face. I'm not sure we need that for the entire body. Take this down. No, let me just leave this the way it is. So I want to kind of see it in there. So you just kind of adding something randomly across the face like so, just to break up the general texture of the skin. But I only want to do this where it's going to be more visible or obvious to see. Or maybe let's just do it for the entire thing. Right now, when you go to the material, it's not completely obvious in there, but it just helps kind of break the texture a bit more. So I'll just randomly just bash that in. You probably just do it for the entire body just for the sake of, since this is a tutorial, and I would like as much as possible to kind of show you guys my workflow for this. So it's important I kind of get this kind of the entire body just to make it feel more be more interesting. So you want to kind of have this very tiny. You don't want to increase the brush too high. So increase the brush too high. You just kind of create something too large. And we don't want that. This is gonna be like on the surface and small like so. Let's show the bottom love. Let's just get this in here. Okay. Let's go to the arm. Okay, the front part. I'm sure this is more or less like an overkill, but let's just get it in there. Let's make sure we have this for the arm. Just going to break up the surface even more, making it more interesting. Okay. Whenever I add this to the dark skin texture, it kind of makes the dark skin texture more interesting, especially when you zoom in. Especially when zoomed in. Okay. We have tackled the back already. Let's get closer on the arm. Right. Seeing this kind of texture the lips though. For the legs, okay, let's just get something in there for the legs. So this guy doesn't feel left out. So I'm kind of treating this as though I'm treating a realistic skin. So even if you're using this, watching this tutorial, you can actually use the same method for realistic skin. Only that in some particular regions, you have to kind of use the cavity map to kind of create some more interesting look or some more result to it. I actually have some tutorials about that though. So if you should check my playlist, you should find a playlist that has to do with a realistic female character and a realistic dark male character also. So you can actually check that and then purchase the tutorial. Or if you're up for private tutorship, you can also hit me up also on my email address, or just kind of comment in one of my videos, and then I'm going to send in my email address and we can talk better. So I think this should be fine for the year. I think I'm done with this. So let's just introduce some more reddish tone to this in some specific areas. So I will duplicate this, and I'm going to try a red tone for this. So let's just pick the red tone from the ear instead. Let's just pick this. Yep. No, we lost it. We lost it for a moment. We lost it for a moment. Yeah, more like a pinkish tone, not really completely red. So let's just add a black mark to this. black marks. I'm still going to be using the same brush. Using the same brush. So now we can go back to the main reference. We can actually start this with the lips though. Let's start this with the lips. Let's give this lip some more pinkish, lovely tone to it. Let's make this guy look kissable with some lovely skin lip tone to it. The thing is kind of blush, add some red blush to it, this lips though, but let's just block in this. Let's start by blocking in this pinkish tone. So this is like the marks for it. So this is the marks we have for it. You can get more of this in there. Okay. Yeah, like so. I think this should work just fine. So now let's go back to the original stylized character. For this. And I'm seeing now that the arm feels a bit more brown. Oh no, don't think I want to spend so much time on that arm part though. Maybe I should. I think maybe I should. This brownish tone. This brownish tone now. I'm going to use the depth brush, the low intensity to it. Let me just duplicate that. I name this brown tone. Yeah, that's fine. Add the black marks. Let's see what we have when we this used to be showing. Is this even working at all? I doubt. Oh, it actually is. It actually is. So let me add the black marks in there again. I like to maybe even pick. Get this closer. Maybe even pick the tone from this. Then lighten that up. Let's paint this in. Let's see what we have when we paint this in. Skin tone looks rather odd. Nah, it looks odd. Let's stick with this brown one instead. But just make it slightly darker. Let me take this down. Let me see what that gives me. Okay, I think this might work. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it. It kind of gets more dark brownish tone to it. Okay, I'm still going to blur this out though. I'm going to blur it out. Okay, so let's start by adding a filter to this blur this even more. hit M on the keyboard. Let's see what we have out of this. Take out the blur for now and paint more of that tone in here. Okay, now add the blur. Now take down the opacity of this. Yeah, something pretty much like that should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, back to the redness. I like to use this Death 3 brush for this. And I also like to turn off symmetry. We have used symmetry long enough. Rest, symmetry, rest. So where do we need redness? The nose and some part of the forehead. No, we'll still take this down anyways. We'll take this down. So let's just create some kind of patches of red. Blood red. Okay. Need to blur this out later on though, but now maybe no, maybe I don't do a bit more white. Zoom out of this. I'll do the same for the eyelid. I think now I actually need symmetry. Let's do this for eyelid. Let's get some red in here. For some pink rather. I'll flesh this part out some more. Okay, so now we can take out symmetry, rest. Okay, okay. For the ear, this needs some more redness. Make sure we have that also for the back. Subsurface scattering should take care of the rest for us. Okay. Let's do some little ones around here. And just get something. Maybe even with a smaller brush size. Just get something in there. Doing this in a non-symmetrical fashion. Alrighty, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think so I'm going to blow this out. Just a bit. Since something like this should be fine. Maybe too much. Yeah, something like this should be fine. Alright, okay, yes. I think we need something for the fingers, I think. Just name this to top tone. Okay. I think we have white texture in here. So this is the white tone. So I'm just going to duplicate this white tone and drag this dude up here. I'll put this in the top tone. Then I'll just push this up like so. Then I'll just add the black marks to it. Add the black marks to it. I would like to use the default brush. Default brush should be fine. This is the hardness for this. Why is it not changing? Taking space better. Take down the hardness. Okay. I think I really like to save my file now before something goes wrong. So I'll just do a quick save. So let's run this up with the fingers. I think it should be done. Though I should have created like some kind of actual finger geometry in there, but I don't didn't want to spend that extra time. But if you can, please by all means do that instead. This is just me trying to cheat my way to make something look kind of similar to some kind of fingernails in there. Great, I should have done this with symmetry turned on. Man, I messed up. Now I have to do the same for the other side. What should just be like the final piece, then we just move on to the other parts of the body. Okay, to be like the final piece now. And we're done. Probably reduce this, name this fingernail tone, just to keep things a bit more organized. I think something around 60 should be fine. Alright, people, ready. So let's do a quick save for this, and then we'll be next lesson.